What's really good? What's really good? What's really good? Welcome back to another Friday night live of the Sanchez Show. As always, I'm your host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend of Two Games. Make sure you're following me across all social media platforms. Will Gordon will be joining me shortly. Give me 1 second here, guys. Shout out to all the supporters, man. We see the comment section is booming tonight. We're going to get into a lot of things tonight. Hope everyone is enjoying their weekend, or at least their weekend is off to a good start, I should say. Be safe out there. Halloween's right around the corner. Make some smart decisions out there, guys. With that being said, it is Friday, October 25th. We got week 8 NFL picks. We got a lot of questions to get to that we're going to start getting to right now. In the background, I'm rotating between the Knicks and Pacers, as well as the Yankees and Dodgers game 1. Let me give you some baseball talk before we get into these questions and before Will Gordon joins. My prediction right out the gate, I'm saying Yankees in 6. I know it sounds very biased. Now, for those that don't know, I'm not a Yankee fan. I am a Met fan. If you follow the show, if you followed on Real Fans Real Talk, you know I've talked about this many a times. I am from the Bronx, but I am a Mets fan. With that being said, though, the Yankees have the better starting pitching, which I think is going to be key in this series. I think the Dodgers escaped the series against the Mets. Now, the Dodgers were the better team, but they escaped that series because they got away with being able to rely on their bullpen so much in that series. And also because the Mets just did not hit well with runners in scoring position. I think over the last 3 games, they averaged at least 10 men left on base in all those games. So even though some of those scores may look lopsided, when you kind of dig into the numbers, you see the Mets were hitting at the same pace that the Dodgers were. The difference was that the Dodgers were hitting with men on base, and the Mets were just getting men on base and then not getting the hits they needed. So I don't think that's going to be the same situation with the Yankees. The Yankees throughout these playoffs have hit very well with runners in scoring position and men on base. I think that's going to continue. I also think their ability to get more length out of their starters, is going to be very beneficial for them. For the Dodgers early in the series, going to the bullpen, Dave Roberts wants to get the quote-unquote starter out of there quick and then get to, his high leverage arms throughout the middle innings. I think that strategy is going to backfire on them once they get past game 3. Early on, it might be beneficial for them. I think as the series goes on, the Yankees will start to pick apart that bullpen and take advantage. And on the flip side, with Cole, who's pitching tonight, with Rondon, who's supposed to be pitching game 2, the Yankees are going to be able to get the length out of their starters and not have to rely on their bullpen so much. So I like the Yankees in 6. I think overall it's going to be a great series. Marketing-wise, this is probably what Major League Baseball wanted. East Coast versus West Coast, the Dodgers and Ohtani versus the Yankees with Aaron Judge and Soto. It's going to be a great series, I think, overall, but I do like the Yankees, and I think they get their 28th banner. So let's see what happens from there. Again, I hope everybody's enjoying their Friday night. Knicks game on one hand, Yankees on the other. For the Knicks, I know we got some basketball talk we're going to get to in a second. They take a tough loss on opening night. Was I shocked? No. I think I was shocked maybe by how well Boston shot the ball, but I wasn't shocked. This banner night, this ring night, you expect it to be an emotional high for the Celtics, and they beat the Knicks. The most telling part of it to me was just how much they struggled to get OG Anunoby and get Bridges going in that game. You expected there to be some hiccups. Now, to Thibodeau's credit, he played 4 guys that were not on the team last year, so you got to figure out a way how to integrate those guys in and see how that goes, and that'll get better as the season goes on. They look much better tonight as they're up 9 points right now in the second quarter on the Pacers. But OG Anunoby is a guy you gave $200 million to, and he's got to be more aggressive, and he's got to assert himself more in these games. If he's going to be very passive and be willing to be the 3rd or 4th best guy on the floor, then it's going to make you start to question the contract you've given him. So he's got to be more aggressive. I like the way he started tonight. I like the way Bridges started tonight as well. I think Karl-Anthony Towns was good in the first game. He's come out good in this game as well. The bench is going to probably be the Achilles heel of this team moving forward. They're going to have to get a little bit more from their bench. Or at some point, maybe Josh Hart moves to the bench and you find a way to get somebody else as a starting 2 on this team. I don't know who that would be because Landry Shamet hurt his shoulder. He's going to be out for a little bit. You don't want to start Deuce McBride because you prefer to bring him off the bench. So you're going to have to find somebody that you're willing to play there because of the short of front court help that they have. You're not going to start Precious because you only have Jericho Sims outside of him. So they got to find somebody, I think, that maybe they can start so that they can move Josh Hart to the bench. And I think that's a better role for him. So that's something to pay attention to. Don't be surprised if they find a veteran shooter that they can start at the 2 guard next to Brunson, or even at the 3 and move Bridges over to the 2, and then allow Hart to come off the bench, which might be a better fit for him. But that's what we got going on tonight. Salute. Hope everybody, again, hope your weekend is off to a great start. We're going to get to some of these questions right now. Shout out to Will Gordon. He should be joining us very soon. And while I wait for Will and while we talk about that, let's let the picks scroll across the bottom. As always, we got your picks for week 8. Last week was a good week. If you missed it, tune in. Go back to the YouTube. Make sure you subscribe while you're there. Look at the picks from last week. You'll see what we were hitting on. That's what I got for this week. I pick against the spread. Will Gordon goes outright. We're going to have his picks coming up in a little bit as well. So we're going to get to that in a second. But let's get to some of these questions, though. Let's see what we got in here. And let's just see who's first in the building tonight. Let's see what we got. Shout out to Ron. Ron was the first one in here tonight. Ron has been a great supporter of not only the Sanchez Show and the Friday Night Live series, but also Real Fans, Real Talk. So I see you, Ron. Bronny James, after Lakers road trip, will go down to G League. Yes, and it's a smart move. It's the best thing for him. He needs reps at this point. And it's been one of the things that I've talked about so many times, that the Lakers using the pick that they used on him second round and then giving him the contract as if he's going to be on this roster for the duration of an 82-game season, we knew was false. He needs reps. He needs an opportunity to play. He is still a developmental player. This is going to be a good thing for Bronny. I also think the more time he spends away from the actual Lakers will be more beneficial for him, because right now everything he does is attached to his dad. I respect what JJ Redick did the other night, putting him in the first half and kind of getting it out the way for the fans to applaud it and see the history of Braun and Bronny playing together. But on the other hand, it made me wonder, like, how often are you going to try to force this narrative now? Because you're in the business of trying to win games, and it's a cool story. It's great for social media, and it's a great headline for people to talk about. But ultimately, if I'm the other guys on the Lakers team, is look, I'm trying to win games, and we've got other guys who are more capable of helping us right now than Bronny is. And so even if it might only be for 5 minutes, I don't need you force feeding this kid minutes just for the sake of a narrative. I need you to play the guys that deserve to be on the floor and deserve to be playing. And so I think the G League stint will be beneficial for both sides, for both parties. Bronny will get the opportunity to get some reps in. Bronny will get the opportunity to just make some mistakes without having the spotlight of the Laker brand attached to any mistake he makes. On the flip side, for the Lakers, it allows them to kind of recenter themselves as well and understand, like, hey, this was cool. It's, again, a great story. History is being made. But let's focus on what we're trying to do, and let's win some games. And I liked what I saw from Anthony Davis opening night. I hope it continues tonight against the Phoenix Suns, who also won their opening night game, though they weren't as crisp. I thought the Lakers were much sharper in their game than Phoenix was in theirs. But I want to see the Lakers build on that. Anthony Davis, second half of last year, played really well, started to kind of take over as the best player on this team. It continued in the opening night. I want to see that continue. That's the narrative I want to be talking about. I want to be talking about the progression of Anthony Davis and not so much what they're doing with Bronny James. So it is a good opportunity for him going down to the G League. Let's see what else we got. Ron, if you're also in here, you said Tyreek post cryptic Snapchat after D-Hop trade. I didn't see the Snapchat. So if you're in here, let me know what you saw there. We're going to keep it basketball related until Will Gordon joins the show. Tyson, shout out to Tyson. Did y'all see the Denver Nuggets versus the Thunder? I did. I didn't get to watch the whole game. I work early morning, so I didn't stay up to watch the whole game, but I did watch some of it. They can't shoot anymore. I mean, Porter and Murray can shoot, but this got to be the Nuggets' worst shooting team in this 3 or 4 year run. You're 1,000% correct. I wondered how Russell Westbrook would fit in with this team. I know Russell's all heart. I know he's going to give you, a great effort every night, but he can't shoot. He is not great off ball. He's ball dominant, so you wonder how that's going to work with Joker. But also the Nuggets, it's a shame what they've done with this roster, because when they won the championship 2 years ago, not only did we praise Joker for being the leader that he was on that team and Murray for the performance he had in the playoffs, but we loved the depth of that team, right? With Caldwell Pope, with Jeff Green. Obviously, you talked about Michael Porter Jr. and Murray. Now I look at this team, and also Bruce Brown was on that team as well. Now I look at this team and I'm like, where's the depth? Like, we know about your stars, but where's the depth here? Where are the guys that are supposed to come off the bench and sustain momentum or shift momentum in the game? They don't have that. And I think Tyson's comment is true. They are not a great shooting team. They don't have the same depth. And outside of their quote unquote big three, I think they're easy to defend. And Joker's going to be Joker. We know that. But they're going to get worn down. This is not a sustainable method to be successful throughout the course of an 82 game season and then into the playoffs. And you saw that last year when Minnesota beat them. Yeah, their big three on most nights are going to be successful. And especially in the regular season, they're going to win a lot of games. But you need more. You need depth in the NBA now. This version of the NBA that we're in now is completely different than the 2010s, 2015s when everybody just relied on a big three. Now you look at the teams that are winning, it's rooted in depth. You look at what Boston did last year. Yes, we know about Brown and Tatum, but look at the depth on that team. To have White, to have Holiday, to have Porzingis, to have Horford, you need that depth to be able to win in the playoffs. You need that. That the teams that have been successful over the last few years, you talked about Denver winning 2 years ago. That's what you need. You got to have that. You got to have guys that come off your bench and maybe can steal a game in the playoffs because you get somebody who's hot off the bench. They don't have that right now. And I'm wondering how this is going to play out because I think in name and in brand, we're going to give them a lot of credit. We're going to make excuses for them because we know who Joker is, a 3-time MVP. We know who Jamal Murray is in the playoffs. But I'm going to be paying attention to see how many off nights their bench has, because that's going to be the telltale sign to me come playoff time if they're a legitimate title contender or if they're just more of the big name that we're expecting to turn it on. Shout out to Tyson. That's a great question. Let's see if we got anything else NBA related in here. Oh, we do. We do, Tyson. I'm going to get to that Boston question in a second. Shout out to Brandon Chambers. Klay Thompson looked great with the Mavs, but hey, it's game one. That's a fact. Never fall into the trap of what it looks like in game one. But if he can give them 18 a game, hey, they can get back to the finals too. I mean, listen, if he can give them 18 a game, they're going to be a top 2 team in the West. You know what Luka's going to give you. You know what Kyrie's going to give you. I love what Lively gives them as a rim runner. Some of the other pieces on his team are very good and good for this team specifically. But if Klay is going to give you, even if he's giving you 15 a night with consistent shooting, you're going to be tough every night because now you know on any given night if Luka can't take over, Kyrie will, and vice versa. And so to have a shooter like that can space the floor, if he's knocking down 2 to 3 threes a game and giving that spacing, they're going to be very tough with the rim runs, with Luka isolating, with Kyrie isolating. They're going to be tough to beat. And I think Dallas is a good team. This was a good signing, but ultimately Klay's real value for this team is what he does in April and May. And so that's why I like the first part of this question as well, Brandon. Like you said, it's game one. It's game one. It looks good right now. We're in October. It may look good in November. It's possible it might still look good in December. Is it going to look good once the calendar turns? Is Klay going to be able to sustain that type of output night in, night out? Of course, you know he's going to have some bad shooting nights. That's a given. But can he be a guy who you can rely on for 12 to 15 points consistently every night, knowing we have that type of sniper out on the perimeter who's going to space the floor and that you got to respect it. And then it's going to open up lanes for Kyrie and it's going to open up lanes for the rim runners. So Klay could be a major, major part. And you're right. If he's giving them that type of production, they're gonna be in the mix to get back to the finals. I gave you guys my finals prediction. I don't know if you tuned in to Real Fans Real Talk a couple days ago. I think the NBA Finals, I know it's a homer pick, but I think it's going to mirror what we saw in the WNBA. I got Knicks and Timberwolves in the finals. That's how I think it plays out. All right. What else we got here? Brandon, I'm going to go to this one as well. We're going to knock out some of this NBA stuff before Will Gordon joins. And then I'm waiting for Will to get in here so we can get going. Doesn't the Thunder team remind you of a college team? They're just fun to watch and may get to the finals. Listen, they were close to getting to the finals last year. They were super close last year. They were a player 2 away from beating Dallas. If they beat Dallas, Minnesota matchup would have been tough because they don't have the interior size that Minnesota had last year. But in terms of firepower, I think they could have hung tough with them. But it was a year of growth. Jalen Williams will be better. Chet Holmgren will be better. We saw Chet look really good opening night. Obviously, Shea is an MVP caliber player. There's a good team, and Sam Presti has built something very special there. And that's a great comparison. It's a college. It's a college atmosphere because that's a college town. And I think that's good for them. Every city can't be an LA or a New York or Chicago or Miami. Sometimes you got to be that small market team that gives a college energy. You see, the Clippers are trying to do it now with this so-called wall. I don't like it for the Clippers because again, you're a big city. That's not the energy that you normally try to give off as a big city and a big market team. But if it works, it works. However, for Oklahoma City, I do love it. They've got a really good team. They're going to be very, very tough this year defensively with the addition of Caruso. When they get Hartenstein back, that roster will be complete. They're not there yet, but when they get Hartenstein back to go with Shea and Chet and Caruso and Dort and Jalen Williams, this is going to be a very, very good team. And it's going to be a very versatile team because they're going to be good defensively, the ability to switch on multiple positions. Shea Gilgeous can switch, Caruso can switch, Dort can switch, Chet can switch. Hartenstein gives them an additional playmaker. Look out for Hartenstein, man. A lot of people don't realize how good Isaiah Hartenstein is, especially as a guy who can initiate offense. Now, is he dribbling up the way Joker does? No, he's not going to initiate offense in that way. But in terms of you can get him the ball in a high post and he can find baseline cutters, he can make the additional pass to an open man. He does those things very well as he got that little one-handed floater shot in the lane. So Hartenstein's going to add another element to this team when he does join them coming back from the injury. Shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein because he was great for the Knicks last year. Guys, make sure you are subscribed to the Sanchez Show. We go live every Friday night. Make sure you guys lock in. We're over on YouTube. Make sure you follow me. You see my social media handle, Legend in Two Games, completely spelled out. Shoot me a like, shoot me a comment. Make sure you guys let me know what topics you want to hear discussed. Shout out to the comment section tonight. Comment section tonight is buzzing, and we appreciate that. Let's see what else we got. You see the pics across the bottom of the screen. If you got NFL related questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section. We'll answer those as well, whether it's regarding picks, whether it's regarding something that took place last week. If you're betting on games, keep in mind the last 2 weeks, favorites have done very, very well. That's why if you're looking at some of my picks for this week, I think that trend will continue. We're getting to the point of the season where we kind of know who these teams are. We know what to expect from every team. Yesterday was a little bit of a curveball. Rams, Vikings. Two things happened in that game that really changed, I think, what most people expected the outcome to be. The first was that the Rams got both their receivers healthy for that game. And that affected the Vikings in a lot of ways because we know Brian Flores wants to be aggressive. He wants to bring pressure on the quarterback. Matthew Stafford is a veteran quarterback. He's seen every blitz in the game. And when you're blitzing him and you're leaving corners one-on-one with his receivers, he's going to pick you apart. You saw Puka have a good game. You saw Damian Robinson start to have a big second half. Cooper Kupp was involved. So that changed because initially we weren't sure if the receivers were going to play. The second thing was the injury to the left tackle Dershaw from the Vikings. When he went down, that completely changed. The Vikings struggled offensively. They got out quick in that game yesterday. They scored touchdowns in their first 2 possessions. From that point on, they only scored 2 field goals the rest of the game. They had both those field goals in the second half. Offensively, they struggled. And so that's what changed that. For the Rams also, they were desperate. The Rams had to win last night to kind of keep their season afloat and make sure that this thing didn't just fall apart. Because if they would have lost last night, I think all the talk today would have been about possible Cooper Kupp trades. Should they trade Matthew Stafford? Should they try to retool moving forward? But with the win, it keeps them in the mix. And they'll really be paying attention to the 49ers game this week to see if they can gain ground and stay close enough with the 49ers, who they beat already once this year. So that'll be something to watch. Now, let's see what else we got here. That's football. That's football. Tyson wants to know, like I said, I want to get some of the NBA stuff out the way. Who y'all liking tonight, Suns versus Lakers, and who y'all think will have a better overall season? So I'll start with the second part of that question, Tyson. Shout out to Tyson, man. Tyson, you be showing a lot of love. You be locking in on Friday nights and locking in Real Fans Will Talk. Greatly appreciate it, man. I like the Suns to have the better overall season. The Lakers, the tricky part is always going to be health with the Lakers. We know Anthony Davis struggles to play a full season. We know that Braun is going to have to be on some sort of minutes restrictions if we want to keep him healthy for the second half and potentially the playoffs. For the Suns, the biggest question really is going to be Bradley Beal. He played opening night. Tonight, he's a game time decision. Last year, he kind of did this whole song and dance as well, where some games he was in, some games he was out. He missed a lot of time. Then he came back and tried to get his rhythm. He didn't look good in the playoffs. But overall, the Suns got it going in the second half of last year and ended up being the 6th seed. I think the Suns are going to be a top 5 seed in the West this year. There's a lot on the line for Kevin Durant. There's a lot on the line for Devin Booker. So I think that'll be where they land, somewhere in the top 5. For the Lakers, I've said it 2 years in a row. It's really about health. They want to be as healthy as possible come April. And though the Lakers would love to be a top 4 team, I don't think that's the number one priority for them. The number one priority is trying to get Bron as healthy as possible at the end of the season. And they would rather rest him at times and kind of eliminate some of the wear and tear on his body so that they can have the freshest version of him come April and May. So for me, I think the Suns will have a better overall season. Tonight, I'm going to pick the Suns tonight as well. And I said earlier, I love what Anthony Davis did in game 1. I would hope to see that again tonight. I've always said his biggest issue has been consistency. Outside of health, obviously, consistency has been his thing. I hope he can be consistent. The one thing that stuck out to me, though, with the Lakers is they didn't shoot the 3 ball very well. They were able to beat Minnesota from inside the perimeter. They didn't shoot it very well. They had no one that made more than 1 3. So they don't have anybody that they can rely on to knock down threes. Phoenix, I think, presents different challenges for them. For Phoenix, also not having Bradley Beal sometimes is better for them because it just allows KD and Book to go to work. So I like Phoenix tonight. I do. But I would love to see a big game from Anthony Davis. I would love to see him build on what he did last game, I should say, as well. What else we got? Tyson, I'm gonna get to that one in a second too. Let's see. We answered that one. Let's see. Do we have any other basketball related? All right, this one might be the last basketball one we have, and then we got NFL from here. Tyson said Boston may start the season 12-0. So Boston started hot last year. So I don't think we should be surprised if they get off to a hot start again this year. I went back and kind of looked at their schedule. They're 2-0. They beat the Knicks opening night. They beat the Wizards last night. Their next 10, they go to Detroit. They back home for Milwaukee. Then they got a 4-game stretch on the road at Indiana, at Charlotte for 2 games, at Charlotte, at Atlanta. They come back home for the Warriors, and then they play the Nets at home. Then they got to go on the road for the Bucks, and then they get the Hawks. That's their next 10 games. A lot of winnable games. I mean, the games that jump out, the first ones are obviously the 2 against the Bucks. Can they beat the Bucks both games? Possible. But if the Bucks, run out their normal team and fully healthy, those are tough games. Giannis has always played Boston tough. He's always given them a hard time. And you expect that Milwaukee is going to be a top 4 team in the East. And you expect Milwaukee to be in contention for a title this year. So to say 12-0, you're assuming that they're going to win both those games against the Bucks. Those are tough. That 4-game stretch on the road, it may not be that difficult. I mean, the Pacers are the only real playoff team out of that 4-game stretch. Obviously, 2 against the Hornets, 1 against the Hawks. But you never know. Sometimes in those type of road trips, you get tripped up. You lose a game you're not supposed to lose. You have a performance that you didn't expect. You may sit somebody to let them get a little rest again because you're on a 4-game road trip. So 12-0 is possible, but they're going to have to beat the Bucks twice. That's the toughest part of it. The Warriors game, I don't think that's too big of a challenge for them. Other than that, I mean, yeah, the only place I see a minor hiccup might be that 4-game road trip. That's the one that to me would that could be a trap somewhere in there. Because you get the Bucks before you go on that 4-game road trip, and then you get the Warriors coming out of that 4-game road trip. 2 games in Charlotte don't sound tough, but you never know. Let's see something. Will, I'm going to send you another link. Bear with me, guys. Give me 1 second. We're trying to get Will Gordon in here right now, so we're gonna try to send him another link here. Let's see something here. All right. So yeah, 12-0 maybe. It's tough though. That is tough. Let's look at what the scores are looking like right now. As we chatted up, we're approaching 9 o'clock on this Friday night. Will Gordon will be joining us shortly. Again, we got the picks across the bottom of the screen. Knicks up 16 at the half. You got the Magic up on the Nets. You got the Raptors up on the Sixers. Hawks up on the Hornets. Cavs up on the Pistons. Grizzlies up on the Rockets. Bucks on. It's going Friday night in the NBA is going as expected. Favorites are pretty much covering at this point. Dodgers and Yankees, no score, bottom of the third. I'm not too surprised. As I mentioned, I think the Yankee starting pitcher is going to be a big part of this series. We're going to see how the Dodgers bullpen can play out. Guys, make sure that you are subscribed to the Sanchez Show. Make sure you're locking in every Friday night. Shoot me a like, shoot me a comment. Make sure you're locked in with us also on Real Fans Real Talk. We'll be recording. I believe we're recording Sunday this week. If not, it'll definitely be Monday. But lock in with us. Get in tune. And pardon me, guys. I'm just reaching out to Will Gordon and see how we looking with the link. Let me get into some of my picks while we wait to get Will Gordon in here as well. Week 8, like I mentioned, the last 2 weeks, favorites have won the day. Now the Rams kind of changed that narrative yesterday. The Rams were the underdog, a desperate Rams team that had to find a way to win. They get to 3-4, but going into yesterday, they were getting 2.5 points as an underdog and they won outright. This week, there's only a couple underdogs I really like, and I'll go according to how I got the screen across the bottom. Colts +5. They get Anthony Richardson back as well as Jonathan Taylor. They played the Texans to a close game in the first matchup. Looking back at last year, both those matchups were very close. All three of their last 3 games, I should say, are all within 3 points or less. So I expect that trend to continue. The Texans should win, but I expect the Colts to keep it within 5. I'll just put it that way. 24-20 might be the final score there. Jets Patriots. Jets given 7 points. I like the Jets in this game. The Jets at some point got to turn it around if they're a playoff team. On the flip side of things, I don't like any of the stuff I'm seeing from the Patriots right now. And I know they got Drake May playing, and I know they feel like, with Gerard Mayo, it's a fresh start. But I don't like the things that Gerard Mayo has said through the press. Through the press about his team, calling them soft. He's made some comments about the roster. Ironically, a lot of these guys were re-signed. So the same guys you're complaining about and the same guys that you don't like are guys that you had an opportunity to let walk and you brought them back. So I don't like what I'm seeing from the Patriots. The Jets handled them very easily the first time. I expect the Jets to handle them again the second time. Eagles, Bengals. This one is a tricky one. I know we got questions about the Bengals. A couple people have commented about the Bengals. I like the Bengals in this game. They're favored by 2.5. The Eagles haven't shown me much, and I'm not going to get too hype about them beating the Giants last week because we know the Giants are a struggling team, and we also know that was a personal situation for Saquon. That was very easy for that locker room to get excited and want to do well for Saquon. So I'm not going to put too much stock in that game. The Bengals, on the other hand, I like what I've seen from their offense. They've been flowing, and their defense has been better the last 2 weeks. Now, again, they're in a situation where their defense was able to get fat on the Giants and the Browns. They've only given up 21 total points in the last 2 weeks. Can that trend continue? For me, the Eagles offense hasn't looked right all season. They're 4-2, but I can't think of one game where I've looked at the Eagles and say, yeah, they look really, really good and they look like a championship contender. Shout out to, I know somebody put that in this comment section as well about them, and I want to bring that up real quick. But that's why I like the Bengals in this game. I just think that the Eagles haven't looked too good. I think a lot of people are gonna right here. Shout out to Kyrie. Are the Eagles back to NFL championship level? I don't think so. I don't think so. The defense isn't that good. The offense is start and stop. Is very tricky, hot and cold there. So I don't think they're championship level yet. Championship level talent, but the execution hasn't been there yet. On the flip side, the Bengals can move the ball offensively, and I expect the Bengals to exploit that secondary like a lot of other teams have. So that's why I like the Bengals a lot in that game. Packers, Jaguars, we ain't got to waste too much time on it. The Jaguars is trash. The Packers offense is rolling. The fact that it's only a 4-point spread surprises me a little bit. I would expect it to be a little higher, but Jaguars coming back from London after 2 weeks over there. I know they get the win against the Patriots last week, but nothing about the Jaguars impresses me. On the flip side, I'm looking at a Packers team that's 5-2, that's really been rolling since Jordan Love has come back. They lost his first start. Since then, they got it going. I like the Packers in that one. Lions, Titans. I hate these lines sometimes when they're this high. Lions are giving 11 points, but the Titans are so trash. Mason Rudolph is going to be starting. And one of the things we've seen from the Lions the last few weeks is their offense is back to what it looked like last year. I know Jameis Williams is going to be out. He's suspended for 2 games for conduct detrimental to the league. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Lions at home, they might win this game by 4 touchdowns. The Titans, I can't see the Titans getting more than 13 points, maybe 17 points. The Lion defense is really good. The Lion offense is exceptional. I expect the Lions to win. Let's see what else we got. Falcons at Bucks. Bucks are banged up right now, and this game was supposed to be better than what it's going to end up being. But the Bucks are missing both their receivers this week, and you wonder how they're going to be able to keep up with the Falcons team that offensively is clicking. So that's a tricky spot. And I hate going against a home underdog in a divisional game. I've talked about that in the past, but because the Bucks are so banged up, I don't know if they can hang in that game. Again, guys, make sure you are subscribed to the Sanchez Show over on YouTube. We go live every Friday night. We're working on getting Will Gordon in the building right now. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's see if we can get him in the building. What else we got? We left off Atlanta and Tampa. Cardinals at Dolphins. Tua makes his return. I don't think the Dolphins should be 4-point favorites in this game, though. You can't simulate game action. Tua Tagovailoa has not played since week 2. We are in week 8. So to think that you're just going to come on the field and everything's going to be clicking, no. There's going to be jitters. There's going to be rust. We saw it when Jordan Love came back off his injury off a few weeks, and that wasn't even off a concussion. You're talking about Tua now, who has got to deal with how is his body going to react to the first hit? How is he going to react to pressure in the pocket? I like the Cardinals, and I really think this is easy money. If you're betting, and if I'm wrong, I'll come out here and say afterwards, I'll say, man, I'm dead wrong. I apologize to you guys. I just think this is easy money. There's no way you could tell me that Tua is going to come in and this offense is just going to start clicking right away. Now, I know the Cardinals aren't great. I know the Cardinals have their own shortcomings. But there's no way you could tell me Tua is just going to get out there beyond the same offensive line that's still struggling, and everything's just going to be clicking. That defense may bail them out, and that's very possible. But as far as offense, I don't see it from Tua and those guys. I think they struggle. Ravens, Browns. We know what happened last week with Deshaun. I'm surprised we didn't see more questions about Deshaun Watson. We'll probably talk more about him as the live progresses. But Ravens are going to handle their business. Ravens are clicking right now. Shout out to Lamar and Derrick Henry. I know we got a question about those guys. I'm going to save that one for when Will Gordon joins. I'm trying to save some of those questions. But right now they're clicking. I don't see the Browns. Maybe they keep it close, but still I would take the Ravens. I would not trust betting on the Browns with their backup quarterback and with the way that offenses look. Saints, Chargers. Saints got a lot of injuries. Chris Olave, I don't know if he's going to play. They said they're trying to see if they can get him to play on Sunday. Obviously, Spencer Rattler has been bad at quarterback. I like the Chargers. They got to bounce back, after their loss to the Cardinals on Monday night. But I like the Chargers in that game. Bills, Seahawks. This is a good game. And I don't like this game for the Bills. They're given 3 points. That's a tough place to play on the road. I think Seattle's a little better than people realize. Um, this is a tough spot for Buffalo to be in. To have to go over there to the West Coast for that game against the Seattle offense that's really, really clicking right now. I like Seattle in that game. Seattle's getting the points. I'm going to take the points. I probably won't take them outright, but I'll definitely take the points. Commanders at Bears. This was going to be a good game until we found out Jaden Daniels got hurt last week. It could still be a good game with Marcus Mariota, but I like the Bears to win this game. Backup quarterback and Marcus Mariota, we know who he is. We know what he brings to the table. I don't know. Now, maybe Cliff Kingsbury has something up his sleeve to make this work. But overall, I like what the Bears have been doing defensively. I would take the Bears there. Panthers at Broncos. This line is too high. The Broncos are the better team, but 10.5 for a team that struggles to score. I know everybody's going to say, well, the Panthers got blown out last week. Well, the Commanders can score. The Broncos can't. So I would take the 10.5 with the Panthers, but I wouldn't be, overly confident about it. I'm just saying. Chiefs at Raiders. There's another one of those. Chiefs are the better team. Chiefs are going to win, but don't be surprised if the Raiders backdoor cover this. I would take the Raiders plus 9.5. I would probably even boost it up to as much as like 12.5 because a division rivalry, there's going to be a lot of pride. The Raiders may score late to just cover that. Also, the Chiefs over the last couple of years have not covered very many spreads. So to go on the road and have to cover that. Now, I haven't heard if Hopkins is playing. If Hopkins is playing, I may change my opinion on it. But as of right now, I would take the 9.5 with the Raiders just to be safe. Cowboys at 49ers. Cowboys, for them, there isn't a better time for you to catch the 49ers. They're banged up. The news came down today. McCaffrey will probably be back by week 10. But we know Debo's been dealing with pneumonia. We know Brandon Ayuk is out for the season. Brock Purdy doesn't have his weapons for the Cowboys, though, but Mike is not going to play. So Micah Parsons is still out. And the Cowboys still can't run the ball. And the Cowboys still can't pass protect. So I'm going to take the 49ers because I just have a feeling that if I take the Cowboys, I'm going to find myself highly upset at my ticket Sunday afternoon when the 49ers are up 20-10 on them. I'm going to take them. 49ers got the better coach, got the better overall talent at home against the team they've dominated. 49ers, keep it simple. Giants at Steelers to end it off on Monday night. Steelers getting another Monday night game against a New York team. I expect the Steelers to cover the 6. Again, the Giant offense is bad. The Steelers defense is very, very good. I also think the offense now looks better with Russ, their ability to throw the ball down the field. And against a Giant inexperienced secondary, there's going to be opportunity to do that as long as they can pass protect. Because the Giants' biggest strength is that they can get to the quarterback. If they can pass protect and they can slow down Brian Burns, this is going to be a good game for the Steelers. So I like them there. Again, those are the picks. You see them scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Sanchez Show. We do this live every Friday night. We got Will Gordon about to join in a second. We're going to get to some of these questions. But again, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you lock in every Friday night. You see the social media handle. Make sure you shoot me a like, shoot me a comment. Shoot me a follow as well. Will Gordon, let me know when you're ready, my brother, so I can bring you on live. Give me the thumbs up. You ready? There we go. Will Gordon is in the building.
What they do, baby?
What's good, bro? How you?
Man, I'm chilling. I don't know why the links weren't working tonight. It kept on giving me these error messages. The last one worked last
Okay.
time the time, I guess.
I guess I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know
what
what.
they do, baby.
Yeah. Let's get to some things. Listen, the comment section was buzzing tonight. I went through some of the NBA ones as I was waiting for you to get in here so that way we could save the NFL joints. But let's go. Let's
I'm
get to some
surprised you
stuff.
ain't have no. I'm surprised you ain't have no World Series action tonight.
Well, I spoke a little bit about the World Series at the start, but none of the questions were centered around that. I gave my prediction. I mean, it's a homer pick. It's a New York pick. I like the Yankees to win the series, but I gave my reason why. Um, Dodgers are a good team. I just think the Yankees got better pitching. And a lot of times in the series, that's what rules the day. If you can pitch, you're gonna probably win the series. Let's get to right away. Shout out to Ron Ron. Ron Ron wants to
Yes,
know:
Ron.
do you expect Brock Purdy to get back on track?
That's a tough one because they're so injury ridden right now at key spots. A lot of guys that were making him look like a budding superstar When you take those guys away and you're replacing them with Jags, just a guy, then you're not going to get the same lightning results that you were getting from the premier players you know, uh, the premier players that are getting the premier salaries in those skill positions. I don't know if we're going to see a regression more so than we're just going to see what he was in the first place. You know, maybe this with those players uh, not being available to him, maybe we're not. It's not a case of he's missing weapons, or maybe it's more so of a case of this is who he always was.
I said I don't know if he gets back on track. Now they might be just missing too many weapons for him to ever look good until the news came down today. McCaffrey should be back week 10. We know Ayuk is gone. Debo's battling pneumonia, so you don't know how much you're going to get from him this week. I still that Debo situation. I don't understand that because we didn't hear about that all week, and we didn't even hear about that till the game started, and then he plays like 3 plays and he's done for the day.
Yeah.
Now maybe I'm just salty because I played him in fantasy. That's maybe a personal issue with me, but
It's always an underlying factor, right?
yeah. Maybe it's just personal to me, but I don't think he gets back on track. I just think this becomes a good team win. I just don't think. I know you got the 49ers. I'm picking the 49ers. Cowboys aren't a good team, and I don't expect the Cowboys to beat them. Mike McCarthy is not going to out scheme Kyle Shanahan. The Cowboys still can't pass protect. They still can't run. And without Micah Parsons, they can't get to the quarterback. So this might be a week where the 49ers, a team effort, wins this. A couple defensive turnovers that lead to short fields for Brock Purdy. Jordan Mason maybe breaks a big run. And then late in the third quarter, they're up 20-10, and they're just like, let's just run the ball and get up out of here. So I wouldn't say per se get back on track because I agree with you. He doesn't have the weapons to do that. I just think they'll win and everybody will assume that all is right with the world. Let's see what else we got here. But shout out to Ron on that. Let's see. Will, maybe you know more about this than I do. He said Tyreek posted a cryptic Snapchat after the DeAndre Hopkins trade to Kansas City. I did not see it. Did you see anything that Tyreek posted?
All I saw from Tyreek was him saying that he's back and start him in your lineups this weekend because Tua's playing. That's all I saw. I didn't see the cryptic jump.
Yeah, I don't know. I asked Ron to clarify. Ron, if you're still here in the live, let me know. Just clarify on that. We had this one as well. Kyrie said, "Are the Eagles back to NFL championship level?" Now I'm gonna let you know. I had to answer this, so I'm gonna say exactly what I said. I don't think they are. I think the roster and the talent makes them look like they're a championship level team, but they haven't been consistent at all this season. And I'm not putting too much stock in the way they beat the Giants last week because the Giants are a bottom 5 team.
I think Sirianni coaches a little too cute, pause, and he I don't really think he uses the weapons that they have the way that he should. I don't think he's getting the best out of the team offensively. Defensively, they're still a little not where you want to be in the secondary. Championship level wise, I'm gonna say no. Playoff, yeah. Championship, like, do I expect to see them in the NFC Championship? I'd have to say no to that. I don't even think they're the best team in the division right now with the way Washington has been playing. Washington has had a cupcake schedule, I know, but that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. So until I see some more consistency in them actually being a dominating football team, then I'm gonna have to say playoff level, yes, championship level, no.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I don't. They haven't been consistent enough. This week they get the Bengals, which will be an interesting matchup because I still have no faith in that Eagles defense and that Bengals offense for like the last 5 weeks has been clicking. So that will be a good matchup to watch. Which leads us to Tyson's question. He wants to know: are the Bengals good enough to? I'm assuming he means be a contender. Um,
I don't think so.
Defensive, yeah, I was going to say defensively, I don't think they are. I think offensively they are, but defensively they haven't shown enough. Now, The last 2 weeks, the defense played better, but they also got fat against the Giants and the Browns. This will be a better test for them. But you say you don't think they are either.
I don't think they can get past Pittsburgh, and I don't think they can get past Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't. I agree.
Both in
I
their
don't.
division.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't, like I said, I don't think their defense is good enough. Their defense is right now is not good enough to compete with any contender. So to be a contender, you got to have a good enough defense to know that, hey, like you said, if we're playing Baltimore, if we're playing Pittsburgh, if we're playing Kansas City, if we're playing Buffalo, our defense can get the stops we need. Right now, they haven't shown that.
Especially if they found something with Russell at quarterback in Pittsburgh, then it's a definite no.
It looks like they did. They hit a couple deep passes last week, and quietly Pittsburgh gets that Monday night game this week against the Giants. Pittsburgh could be sitting at 6-2 after this week.
Yeah.
In a great position there. This one's also from Tyson. Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry has great chance to break single season rushing record. What do you think?
Uh, yeah, he does. I mean, yeah, he's on pace for it, right? If they
He's on pace.
continue to if they
Mm-hmm.
if they continue to get leads and then allow him to do what they brought him to there to do and be the closer, um, then yeah, absolutely, he can absolutely eclipse that mark.
He's got a great chance. We know that the NFL schedule now has that extra game that they didn't have in the past. So you get that to your advantage. The only thing that could probably work against them is if they have a couple big leads the next couple weeks, he may get pulled early. You may see them kind of preserve the legs a little bit and not let him get 25 carries, and maybe he just ends up with 18 or 19 carries, which could hurt him, but not in a bad way. Obviously that's if you're chasing a single season record. Because for the Ravens, this season is bigger than just about regular season accolades. They're trying to win a Super Bowl, and if they can preserve it and take 20 to 30 carries off his body, that's what they're going to do.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't think about it in that aspect where if they're really up on teams that he might be on the bench in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So that's how that might play out. Then we got another one here from Brandon. This is circling back. We got a lot of Bengals questions tonight. This is the first time I think we've talked about the Bengals this much. Brandon Chambers, he's quoting Joe Burrow. We're still in it. Faith in Cincy fully restored with a win.
Who
What do
they
you
got
think,
this
Will?
week
They got the Eagles.
in Philly?
That's in Cincinnati.
In Cincy.
Mhm.
No, I mean, we really need to pump the brakes on this and note how we anoint Joe Burrow as like this great, one of the greats now. He had a great run 1 year and has been pretty much middle of the pack since then. Um, Jamar Chase is amazing, but the Bengals never seem like they are putting it all together when they need to. They never have consistently as a franchise, and it's just something about that team. I don't know. It's something that's missing from them, but I'm not. I don't have any faith in Cincinnati going forward. Like I said on the last question, I think they're going to be third in their own division. And I mean, can they win 9 games? Yeah. Is that going to be enough? Probably not.
Not to win the division, no. Yeah, the 9 games is not going to be enough to win the division. To win that division, you got to get in double digits. We know that already.
I mean, Burrow got to say we're still in it. He can't say, well, fuck it.
Well, I
You
mean,
know
no,
what
I
I'm saying?
mean, listen, are they still in it? Yes. Like, let's be realistic. We're only at week 8, right? So, are they still in it? Yeah, they're 3-4. They got off to a slow start. They've won 2 in a row. They've won 3 out of their last 4. Their offense has been clicking the last 5 weeks, where Chase and Higgins have been going off, and Chase Brown seems like they found the running back that they were looking for to replace Joe Mixon. So they got that going for them. The defense isn't that good. But would I say confidence is fully restored if they win? No, I wouldn't go that far because even with a win, you're 4-4. And if Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh is 6-2. If the Ravens win, the Ravens are 6-2. So you're still 2 games behind them. Now, the one thing that Cincy has in their favor is if you find a way to beat Philly, these are the next 5 games. Will, after this Philly game, they stay at home. They get the Raiders. Then they got the Thursday night game against the Ravens. Then they get the Chargers. Then they get the Steelers. That's their next 5. They got this Philly game. They got the Raiders. They got the Ravens. They got the Chargers. They got the Steelers. So do they control their own destiny? Absolutely. Because, again, Ravens, Chargers, Steelers are all teams ahead of them right now in the standings. You get the opportunity to get yourself in the race. But you got to win those games. So that's why I'm not going to say fully restored. You win the game, yeah, you're 4-4, you feel better about yourself. But realistically, in those 3 games, what do you think they go? Because they're going to be underdogs in all 3 of those games, I think.
What's the opponents?
Ravens, Chargers, Steelers.
They'll be favored against the Chargers.
Nah, that game is in LA. They're going to be underdogs in that game.
Watch.
I think unless there's an injury or unless the Chargers are on a losing streak, I don't think they're going to be favored over the Chargers. Mm-hmm. The Chargers right now are 3-3. You and I talked about this. I mean, obviously the Chargers took that bad loss on Monday, but it's very possible that the Chargers could be 6-3 going into that game. Right? The Chargers got the Saints, the Browns, and the Titans before they get the Bengals. If the Chargers are 6-3 going into that game, the Chargers are going to be favored.
That's true. But I thought they were going to win Monday night too, so I can't even bank on that.
Right. I just think, again, I wouldn't say faith fully restored. I just think that the Bengals are in the mix. And I don't necessarily agree with you, Will, on the Joe Burrow analysis, just because when he's been healthy, they've had 2 deep playoff runs. They went to a Super Bowl and then they lost in the AFC Championship game the following year. So they've been in the mix when he's healthy. The problem has been the other 2 years that have boarded that. His rookie season when he only played like 3 games and last season when he was hurt. So this year, if he's healthy, they're going to be in a mix again. If he's not healthy, they're not going to be in the playoffs. That's really what it comes down to with the Bengals.
Yeah, but even if he's healthy, they're not making the playoffs.
I don't know. I think the AFC is open right now, bro. The AFC right now, as it stands, the 7th seed would be the Broncos. They're 4-3.
Well, you got Kansas City, right?
You got, I mean, the top is the obvious. You got Kansas City, you got Houston, you got Baltimore, you got Buffalo. That's your top 4.
Pittsburgh's making it.
Pittsburgh at 5. Okay. Then right
Chargers
now at
could
6,
make it.
At 6 right now, you got the Colts at 4-3. You got the Broncos at 4-3. That's 6 and 7. Those 2 teams.
You can pass both of those teams.
That's my point. Then you got the Chargers. The Chargers are 3-3 as the 8th seed, and the Bengals right now are at 9 at 3-4. It's very possible that the Bengals win this week, go 4-4. The Colts play the Texans, they could lose. The Broncos should beat the Panthers, so they should go 5-3. The Chargers get the Saints. The Chargers should beat the Saints. They'll be 4-3. So you're looking at a possibility, like I said, where the Bengals at 4-4 would be right in the mix as like a number 7 seed after this week. So I think playoffs are very realistic for them. It's the NFL season. I don't know. It's changed, and maybe because we getting old, I look at it differently. But I remember back in the day when it felt like, oh, this is such a quick season. Now, like we're only at week 8.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 3 weeks longer, right?
It's 2 weeks longer now.
2?
So yeah, because now, I mean, well, it's really 1 week. It was a 16-game schedule. Now it's a 17-game schedule. So you play week 18. But it just feels like I said, there's so many teams that are bunched up together there that it's almost like all you need is really 2 good weeks and you're back in the mix. You get 2 good weeks and you're back in the mix. Because like I said, 2 weeks ago the Bengals was 1-4.
But they added around to the playoffs, right?
No, what they did was they put the just one bye and then it's wild card weekend. So when it was 6 teams, you would get 2 teams that would get a bye and everybody else had to play. Now, since they added a team, there's only one bye, same amount of rounds, but only one team gets a bye now.
Okay.
So again, I think the Bengals are in the mix. It's tough to write off any of these teams, bro, because all you need is a couple winnable games and you back in the mix. And like I said, the Bengals are in that same position. The Bengals, if the Bengals find a way to beat the Eagles and they're 4-4, they get the Raiders next week. They're going to be favored. They'll probably beat the Raiders. Now, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be like, hey, they're 5-4 and they're holding on to a wild card spot. And everything changes at that point. So I think they're in the mix. Now, being in the mix and being a Super Bowl contender are two different things.
True. Especially, I don't know. It's just something about the Bengals, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's 'cause I'm in the area, but it's like the Bengals are always going to be Bengal. Like, I mean, they had the 2 years like you mentioned, but it's just always something about them. Same thing with the Browns. It's always something hovering over that franchise that just when you think you're about to make that turning point, they, you get smacked in the face with disappointment. So I don't know. Maybe I've been in the Mid Ohio Valley for 20 some years, and I'm just used to seeing the failure. But that's why I have a more wait and see approach when it comes to the Bengals.
And I can listen, I can understand that because they've had such a fucked up history. It's something about the Bengals though that with Joe Burrow, I think I give him a little bit more credit because Joe Burrow has shown like he's won tough playoff games on the road. That to me is like I'm not gonna count the guy out yet. Now, again, their defense isn't as good as it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
But Joe Burrow's really the only guy we've seen aside from Tom Brady be able to go toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. Remember, they beat them in the AFC Championship game, and then the very next year, it came down to a last second field goal for Kansas City to beat them. So he's gone toe to toe. He went into Buffalo and they beat the shit out of the Bills in that snow game in Buffalo. Like Joe Burrow knows what it takes to win these games. That's why I wouldn't count them out because it's just to me they're one of those scary teams that if they get in, you know already what you're getting from their offense, and it's just really a matter of like if their defense gives them just a halfway decent game, they're gonna be tough to beat because those weapons they got on the outside with Chase and Higgins, those are matchup nightmares for most teams. Those are tough matchups for most teams.
I mean, if they can put something together, I just don't expect it.
I hear that. Um, well, I'm gonna circle back. I'm gonna let you get some of these NBA questions in here. Let's see what we got. Of course, the first one we had tonight was about Bronny James. Of course.
God damn, really?
Yeah. First question of the night. Bronny James
Why?
after Lakers road trip will go down to G League.
Where he belongs?
I said
If
the
he even
same
belongs
thing.
there, he really belongs in Turkey or something. But we can work G League.
I think this is best case scenario. I try to be nice about it. This is best case scenario for Bronny. Go down to the G League, get away from it. Um, well, I know you're not the biggest Braun fan. Neither am I. I respect what he's done, but I'm not the biggest fan. You know what I thought was super corny though? And I talked about this to start the show. JJ Redick forcing Bronny into the game in the second quarter.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was thinking the same thing because before the game, I said the only way he should even get in the game is if the Lakers are either blowing them out or getting blown out with a minute and some left. That's the only time he should even get any clock. And
Yeah,
yeah, coming in the second quarter with LeBron, right? Then they check in at the same time, or was he
yeah.
just standing at the table?
No, no,
Yeah,
no. It was done intentionally. And
they
see, to
they
me,
had to get that shot for the movie later.
Yeah, that's what it is for the documentary. Um, I don't. I'm interested to see. I'll put it that way. How some of these other guys feel about this, because if I'm on that team and I'm trying to win some games, and you're telling me, oh, we're gonna check Bronny in at the second quarter, why?
Right? What's he
Why would
bringing?
you? Right. I don't give a fuck if he's on the court for 2 minutes. Why are we giving away minutes when we have other guys who are more worthy of those minutes?
You know why? I mean, it's the photo op, it's
Of
the moment.
of
It's you
course,
know exactly why. So
but
I
this
mean,
is
and that's what you got. It's two sides. You could be on one side of the fence or the other. You either on the side of, oh wow, that was history, great. No, that was such a great moment. Blah blah blah. You can be on that side, or you're on the other side. And you like, okay, well, okay, what? A lot of people don't even think he should be on the team. Okay,
yeah,
you know what I mean? They played together. All right, let's move on. You had your photo op time to send his ass on to the G League or wherever you want to send him, and get back to trying to, like you said, trying to win basketball games and getting back to treating this like a profession instead of like a, a reality show.
yeah. I agree, and I said that. I said this. Him going to G League is the best thing for him and for the Lakers, because I just don't understand, and I don't see how you can allow the circus to just keep going all season long. Like at the end of the day, he shouldn't be on the floor for these minutes. Like you said, unless you're getting blown out, you down 20 with 4 minutes to go. All right, go ahead, Bronny. Go ahead, get out there, get some run, get some shots up. Cool. But you checking him into the game as if like he's a major piece of the rotation is bullshit.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not
'cause
no.
especially in the regular season, what's your rotation? 8 guys, maybe 9,
Yeah,
maybe.
you going nine. You going nine, maybe 10 if it's like a back to back night, but nine is normally about right. And checking a guy in the second quarter gives the impression that you in our rotation.
Right. And he's not. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I mean, we know what it is. We got it out the way now. You know what I'm saying? It's time to mop up all the confetti off the floor and send his ass on, and let's get to it, and then start giving some attention to the rookie on that team that deserves it, and Dalton
Dalton
Connect, the
Connect. Yeah,
one,
Dalton
no one
Connect.
that looks like he's a day one contributor and can actually help the team win games.
Yeah. I just to me, like I said, it's best for him to be down at the G League, get away from the team. Because he's also in an unfortunate situation. His dad is calling the shots. So whether he wants to be on the court or not, that's what's gonna happen. Whether he wanted that moment or not, that's what LeBron wanted.
Yep.
Let's see what else we got. This was a good question from Tyson. Did y'all see the Denver Nuggets versus the Thunder? They can't shoot anymore. I mean, Porter and Murray can shoot, but this got to be the Nuggets' worst shooting team in this 3 to 4 year run. Now, I'm going to say what I said earlier, Will. I agree with this comment. One of the biggest mistakes the Nuggets have made after winning the finals 2 years ago was letting go of all that depth they had when they had Jeff Green on the team, Reggie Jackson, Bruce Brown. They let all that go.
But I
They
can't
don't
say
look
those
like
guys will be factors now, 2 years
I
later.
think I think Bruce Brown definitely would have been.
Hmm. I
But
mean, I agree that they shouldn't have let those guys go then, but I don't really think this team now. I mean, Jeff Green, didn't he just retire?
oh yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not saying everybody would have been a major contributor. The point is that they just don't have the same depth. That was the key to them winning 2 years ago, that they had this great depth outside of their big three.
Yeah. But I also don't think it's panic time in any way,
No,
shape, or
no, no,
form.
no.
You know
Hell
what I
no.
mean?
Yeah.
They gonna figure it out. And you got the Joker still. When you got the Joker, that's all you need. Let's be honest. They gonna figure it out. And he's the type of dude. They ain't even gonna be in shape till January. So I'm gonna go ahead and just let it play out. And as long as they not falling into the bottom of the conference, they be all right.
they're not going to fall to the bottom of the conference. You got one of the best players in the league, and we know how it goes in the regular season. To me, this is something I'm going to pay attention to throughout the season because I don't know how Russ really fits with this team. And I'm not going to crucify Russ for his first game with them. He's trying to figure it out as well. But they just don't have the same depth, and they don't have the shooting. And I think ultimately this might be one of the things that we see later on. They're going to have to make a move to get a little bit more on that team if they really want to be a title contender. Because I don't think as they currently constructed that they're a title contender.
I don't. It's just early. It's very early. I haven't even taken my kids trick or treating yet. So that's how early we are in the NBA season. I'm a, I'm a with what's his name? The GM for the Nationals. He says he always likes to say, I'm gonna just keep looking at the back of the baseball card. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna trust that I'm gonna get that from the Nuggets. The consistency that they've shown in the last few years as Joker has emerged as one of the best players on this planet.
Fair. Let's get a couple more questions in. This is an overreaction. I said it when I answered it earlier. Brandon Chambers, Klay Thompson looked great with the Mavs, but hey, it's game one, absolutely. But if you can give them 18 a game, hey, they can get back to the finals too. Listen, I said earlier, if they can get them 18 a game, they're gonna be damn near unstoppable. With Kyrie and Luka, and if Klay's giving them that, I don't think 18 a game is realistic. I think what they would love is for Klay to be somewhere in the range of 12 to 15 a night, being able to knock down some corner threes and space the floor. If he gives them that, then yes, they have a chance to be a very, very good team because we know they got those young rim runners and they got good defense. They need that shooting though. But 18 a night is crazy. I don't think he's giving them 18 a night.
They don't want 18 tonight from him because if he's having to give him that, then something else is wrong.
Right.
So what I mean. So he needs to come in like the night he had. What he dropped last night? 22.
Yeah, because he had 6 threes yesterday.
6 threes. Okay, he's gonna have those nights. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the best shooters we've ever seen. So he's gonna have nights where he just gets hot. But and they're gonna feed him. They're gonna feed him the basketball when he's cooking like that. Just like on the play you saw when Luka hit him and was halfway down the court because he knew it was about to be cash money. It's gonna be those
Right.
nights, and then it's gonna be nights also where you don't need that from him at all. And he's gonna give you with the range, like you're saying, like around 12. You know what I'm saying? If you get a couple baskets a quarter from him, you can get up to that. But I just don't know, like as far as the rotation goes in game situations, if he's going to be needed to give them that much volume and scoring. But is
Yeah.
he still capable of it? Absolutely.
Right. I mean, there's going to be some nights it's going to look the way it did yesterday, but that's not who he's going to be consistently throughout the course of the season. And for the Mavs, that's not what you want anyway. You just want him to really be the threat out there to create the floor spacing. We know that the offense runs through Luka and Kyrie. You know that. So, like
Yeah.
you said, if he's giving you 18 a night consistently, either he's playing way above his head and it's great, or something else is going on, and now you're relying on that 18 a night when you really didn't want to rely on that. So I don't think that's
And
a realistic expectation.
Brandon, you got to remember, it's always going to be some part of the season where he starts just acting real light skinned and he gets in his feelings about not getting the amount of playing time he wants. It's going to be a road trip or something where he don't really get the clock he wanted, or it's going to be some times when he's not getting. He feels like the shots he should be getting. You, so we got to keep that. We got to keep watch for that. That's usually a thing with Klay.
We got 2 more questions before we wrap up. Tyson, he made a statement regarding Boston. They're 2-0. They beat the Knicks, they beat the Wiz, impressive in both games. He said they may start the season 12-0. I had to look at the schedule. It's not too far fetched. This is their next 10 games, Will. They're going to Detroit. Then they get the Bucks. Then they got to go at Indiana, at Charlotte, at Atlanta. They come back home to face the Warriors. Then they face the Nets. They go back on the road to face the Bucks, and then they're back home for the Hawks. That's their next 10 games. So obviously they
With
got 2 games against the Bucks in there.
is there a road back in there?
So they got a 4-game stretch on the road where they play the Pacers, the Hornets, and the Hawks for 4 straight
Yeah.
on the road.
Any back-to-back nights?
The Hornets game, I think that's a back-to-back because it's Hornets one night and then they get them again. I think two in that road trip type.
So it's a home and home. Oh, it's a home and home,
No, away and
but
away. They both on the road.
oh, but they are back-to-back nights, not
Yeah,
back-to-back. Okay,
yeah,
the second game of that back-to-back is going to be the one they lose.
yeah. I think one of those games on the road in general, because you play the Bucks right before you go on that road trip. So one of those games on the road is going to be the night where you probably rest guys, or Joe Mazzulla might kind of call off the dogs early and be like, all right, take it easy tonight, guys. It's fine. Um, to start the season 12-0 is tough. And I know it doesn't sound crazy, but when you're the defending champs and everybody's excited to play you, starting the season 12-0 is super tough, bro. So I don't think they get to 12-0. I think they have an impressive start. And then also you got those two games against the Bucks. And the Bucks want to see where they measure up to the Celtics. Pause.
I think they're gonna come out there about 9-3.
That's more than fair. That's more than fair. Also, Tyson wanted to know this regarding the late game tonight. The Knicks are up big on the Pacers right now. They're beating the shit out of them. Last time I checked, they was up 30. Let me double check what is that right now. But last time I saw they was up 30 on them. Karl Anthony Towns with another double-double. Yeah, they have 25 on the Pacers right now in the fourth. That game is just about over. Lakers Suns are the late game tonight. Both teams won on opening night. Who do you like in tonight's game, Will? And who do you think will have the better overall season?
That's a tough one. Well, tonight I like Phoenix, but better overall season. That's gonna be tough. I think they might be record wise very similar as the season progresses. Uh, Especially if LeBron is healthy, if KD is healthy. I think Devin Booker got a battery put in his back overseas, and I think we're gonna see uh, a maturation in his game. He's already got one of the illest shots in the league, long range, mid range. He can get to the rim and face physicality at the rim. I I think what I think the weak spot is in Phoenix is how much they plan on relying on Bradley Bill
Well,
and what.
Bradley Bill's in midseason form because he played opening night and now he's a game time decision tonight.
Oh yeah, so you getting what you gonna get from Bradley Bill.
That's
You know
that's
what I mean?
mid that's midseason form right there.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Man, I might think for the season overall, I'm gonna lean I'm gonna lean slightly Lakers because I think there's gonna be some injury issues in Phoenix. Like because KD, it's always a little something here and there these last few years, and Bradley Beal is not what the league thinks he is. So, and with LeBron having, he's always on a mission to try to get a ring. Anthony Davis is looking like who he always thought he could be. And if you're getting contributions from guys like Rui, D'Lo, and if Dalton Connect develops the way that he's looking to be on a trajectory too, then I'm gonna say overall better season. I'm gonna say the Lakers.
I think with the Lakers, it's tough to know what their regular season is going to look like because they want to preserve Braun for a potential playoff run. So the load management, I think, is going to play a major effect after the All-Star break with them. That's why I think Phoenix probably has a better overall season. Last year, Phoenix was sixth, and they kind of got hot in the second half of the season. So I think they probably had a better regular season. Tonight, I'm going to take Phoenix as well. But I want to see Anthony Davis kind of build on what he had opening night. He had the 36 points. He looked really good opening night. I want to see Anthony Davis be assertive like that from now on. We've said it for 2 years now. This should no longer be Braun's team. This should be AD's team. But he got to be consistent night in, night out. So I think on the season, I think Phoenix will be better, and I think tonight Phoenix wins. Well, let's wrap up like we do, man. But before we do, who you want to show love to?
This week, let's show love to, and I think I did it last week too, which is crazy. And I'm doing it again. But let's show love to the WNBA being in position to where they can look at the CBA that they had and opt out of it because they know the deal that was in place before is not nearly what it should be with the way the league is going now. It's the WNBA has has achieved what I never thought they'd be able to do. And that is actually be in a position to demand money, to be in a position to expand their season by adding games, in a position to actually market their players on multiple different from multiple different advertisers. Uh, Me and supporter of the show Gary Blankenship were talking today, and I said, Gary, is it acceptable for me? I'm gonna pose this question to you, and the fact that I'm even asking this question, it just tells you where the WNBA has come from. Is it acceptable for a man to rock a WNBA jersey?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because I was
Um,
peeping on today that them Chicago Sky Angel Reese jerseys, the colors are very similar to the Chargers. So I was like, man, I already got shit to go with it.
yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think it's more than acceptable. Yeah, I think it's dope. I mean, obviously if it's Angel Reese, if it's somebody of that stature, yeah, why shouldn't we? Right? They say we should support the ladies. We supporting the ladies.
All right.
It ain't like that motherfucker a jersey dress. If it was a jersey dress, then
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
The
nah, don't
Joyce
do that.
Mariah used to wear.
Yeah, don't do that. Nah, don't do that. But that jersey's a regular jersey, so I'll probably get a Liberty one. I like the black Liberty jersey, so I'll probably get a Liberty jersey this year. And I'm definitely gonna just get a WNBA hoodie, the orange joint with the logo on it, because I think that joint is tough too.
Yeah, I might get me a Reese jersey, man. I
There
don't
you
know.
go. There you go. For tonight, man, I had to think about it. And then the news kind of came through a couple hours before we went live. So I want to first start off by saying thoughts and prayers out to the family of the legendary DJ Clark Kent, who passed away last night after 3 years battling cancer. For people that don't know, he was major influence on discovering Jay-Z, major influence on the DJ scene and breaking a lot of artists and help a lot of artists reach their stardom. And then he was big in the sneaker and the fashion culture as well. Still fairly young. He was in his 50s. So, to hear that he had been battling colon cancer for the last couple of years, man, it's definitely one of them eye-opening moments where as men, we got to remind each other, man, make sure you're going to the doctor. Don't be too cool, man. Go to the doctor. Make sure you're good. Make sure you're living for your family. It's unfortunate that at that young age that he passed away and he leaves behind kids and a wife. So definitely thoughts and prayers out to his family. And his impact, like I said, will never be forgotten because, again, he was major in putting together Jay-Z and Damon Dash, which ultimately led to the creation of Rockefeller.
Yeah, I didn't even know he passed, man. That's a really unfortunate situation. Big contributor to hip hop as we know it.
Yeah, that's a fact. He passed late last night, and then the family released a statement today. Around I want to say around 5:30, they put the official news out. But there have been some a couple cats in New York that I knew had kind of talked about it, and they was like, he had been in bad shape for a little bit, but out of respect for the family, people weren't really talking about it. People weren't doing the whole, pray for DJ Clark Kent and stuff. They were kind of trying to keep it in house, but obviously, with him passing at this point, the family gave the okay to put the word out to all of the friends and supporters and fans of DJ Clark Kent, man. So again, thoughts and prayers out to the family. We're gonna wrap up on that note. Do remember, guys, make sure you subscribe. Friday Night Live will be back again next week. You guys be careful out there this week. It's Halloween time, man. I'm gonna be out there trick or treating. I need to get some Reese's cups and all that. But make sure you guys subscribe to the Sanchez Show. The opinionated ones will be back again next Friday. Shout out to my brother Trip Young. We will be live again Sunday as we prepare for the Sunday night game. From my brother Will Gordon, I am Eric Sanchez. We are the opinionated ones. We'll see you guys next Friday, man. We out here.